Niccolo Machiavelli is remembered as the master of cold psychology, the thinker who stripped away illusions and exposed the raw mechanics of power, loyalty, and betrayal. And if there is one truth he would force us to face in relationships, it is this: people will always leave you the moment they believe someone else offers them more. It is not fair. It is not noble, but it is the harsh reality of human nature. Think about your own life. How many times have you given your all to someone, only to watch them walk away the second they found someone new? How many times have you seen loyalty collapse in an instant, not because of what you did wrong, but because the other person believed they could gain more elsewhere? It hurts. It feels personal. But Machiavelli would say it has nothing to do with love in the way you imagine it. It has everything to do with interest, advantage, and self-preservation. Machiavelli's philosophy begins with a dark assumption. People are not guided by loyalty. They are guided by utility. They stay with you only as long as you serve their needs: emotional, financial, physical, or social. The moment someone else offers more excitement, more security, more validation, they will leave. Not because they hate you, not because you are unworthy, but because their calculation tells them it is in their interest to move on. This is why betrayal feels so shocking. You think love is a contract written in permanence. They think love is a contract written in sand, and sand shifts the second the tide changes. But here's the deeper truth Machiavelli would want you to see. People are not leaving you for someone else. They are leaving you for themselves. For the version of themselves they think they can become with that new person. If they believe the new partner makes them feel stronger, more desired, more alive, then loyalty vanishes. To them, it is not betrayal. It is survival. And this is what makes abandonment so painful. It reveals that love, in practice, is often conditional. We tell ourselves we want unconditional love, but most people cannot give it. They are too bound by their own insecurities, their own desires, their own hunger for more. Machiavelli would argue that expecting unconditional love from human beings is like expecting the lion not to hunt. It is against nature. This does not mean love is fake. It means love is fragile. It means loyalty is fragile. And if you build your life on the assumption that people will stay no matter what, you set yourself up for devastation. The harsh reality is that love is always being weighed, measured, compared. And in that silent comparison, someone else can appear to tip the scales against you. So how do you protect yourself from this? Machiavelli would say, stop expecting loyalty to be permanent. Stop expecting others to be ruled by the same depth of feeling you may hold. Instead, accept that most people love you only as long as you serve their interest. This may sound cruel, but it frees you. Because once you stop living in the illusion, you can begin to see the patterns clearly. Have you ever noticed that the moment you give someone everything, they begin to pull away? That when you stop being a mystery, when you stop being a challenge, when you stop adding something they value, they suddenly seem distracted? This is not coincidence. This is the psychology Machiavelli saw in rulers, in soldiers, in lovers alike. People are loyal only as long as it costs them nothing. The second loyalty costs them comfort, excitement, or ego. They abandon it. This is why they always leave you for someone else. Because the other person, in their eyes, represents less cost and more reward. And this does not make them evil. It makes them human. The real tragedy is that you cannot control who stays. You can only control how you respond when they leave. If you collapse, if you beg, if you chase, you confirm their choice. You show them you have lost value. But if you hold your ground, if you rise in silence, if you show that their betrayal does not destroy you, then you reclaim power. Machiavelli would remind you, it is not the abandonment itself that weakens you. It is how you react to it. And here is the paradox. Those who can walk away without collapse are often the ones people return to. Because nothing unsettles the betrayer more than realizing you did not break. They left you for someone else, and yet you remained whole. You did not beg. You did not crumble. You did not hand them your dignity. That quiet strength becomes magnetic. So the harsh reality Machiavelli forces us to face is this: betrayal is inevitable, abandonment is common, and loyalty is fragile. But your power lies not in preventing them from leaving. It lies in what you become when they do. Machiavelli understood something most people refuse to admit. Human beings are rarely satisfied with what they have. No matter how good you are to them, no matter how much you give, there will always be a part of their mind asking, could I do better? Could I feel more alive with someone else? This is not a flaw in you. It is a flaw in human nature. Machiavelli's philosophy is rooted in utility and novelty. He observed that loyalty lasts only as long as people believe their current situation serves them better than the alternatives. The moment they perceive that another option offers more pleasure, more advantage, more power, their loyalty shifts. And this is why people always leave you for someone else. Not because they see your flaws, but because they see the illusion of more in someone else. This is the curse of novelty. The new person is untested. They are a blank canvas onto which all fantasies are projected. They have not yet disappointed. They have not yet revealed their shadow. They have not yet shown that they too are human, flawed, ordinary. And so, in the imagination of your partner, the new person becomes larger than life. A savior, a rescuer, the promise of a new beginning. Meanwhile, you are familiar. Your flaws are visible. Your rhythms are predictable. You have become ordinary in their eyes. And human beings, Machiavelli argued, are drawn more to the promise of change than to the reality of stability. They would rather chase illusions than appreciate what is already in front of them. This explains why betrayal often feels so cruel. You may have given them love, loyalty, sacrifice, yet they leave you for someone they barely know. It feels absurd. But in their mind, the unknown always has more potential than the known. The familiar is taken for granted. The new is romanticized. This is not logic. It is illusion. And yet, illusions are powerful enough to destroy entire relationships. Machiavelli would say this: people are not rational creatures of loyalty. They are restless creatures of appetite. They crave stimulation, admiration, novelty. And once their appetite attaches to someone else, no amount of pleading from you will bring them back. Because appetite cannot be reasoned with. It can only consume. Look around at the modern world. Social media has magnified this dynamic. At any moment, people can scroll through endless faces, endless options, endless what-ifs. The illusion of better is always one swipe away. And so, loyalty has become weaker than ever. People are constantly comparing, constantly fantasizing, constantly wondering if the next person will give them the excitement they no longer feel. The grass always looks greener because they are staring at it through the filter of imagination. But here is the bitter truth Machiavelli would remind us. Once they leap the fence, once they abandon you for someone else, they often discover that the new person is no different, that the same flaws, the same disappointments, the same frustrations reappear. Why? Because the problem was never you. The problem is their own restlessness, their inability to stay with reality instead of chasing fantasy. Yet, by the time they realize this, the damage is done. They have betrayed loyalty. They have burned trust. They have revealed their nature. And this is why Machiavelli would advise rulers, and by extension, lovers, not to expect loyalty to last forever. Because the temptation of novelty is always stronger than the memory of gratitude. This is why so many people repeat the same cycle, leaving one relationship for another, convinced each time that they've finally found the one. And each time, history repeats. The pattern of dissatisfaction follows them because they never confront the truth. No one else can fill the emptiness inside them. They believe the problem is their partner, when the problem is their own shadow. Machiavelli would argue that wisdom is in accepting this harsh reality, not in denying it. People will leave. People will betray. People will always believe they can do better until reality proves them wrong. But your strength lies in not collapsing when it happens, in understanding that their departure does not diminish your worth. It only exposes their nature. Here's the paradox. The less desperate you are for someone to stay, the more likely they are to regret leaving. Because nothing unsettles the betrayer more than realizing you did not break when they abandoned you, that you did not beg, that you did not chase, that you carried on with dignity. This is how Machiavelli would turn betrayal into power, not by preventing them from leaving. You cannot control that, but by controlling your response. If you remain unshaken, if you rise above their weakness, you reveal strength they did not see before. And strength, Machiavelli knew, is always more attractive than weakness. So when someone leaves you for someone else, do not let it destroy you. See it for what it is: the hunger for novelty, the illusion of greener grass, the restless shadow of human appetite. And instead of trying to hold on, focus on what Machiavelli valued most: power over yourself. Because the one thing no betrayal can take from you is the dignity of your silence and the strength of your resilience. Machiavelli is infamous for one of his most brutal insights: that it is safer to be feared than loved. At first glance, this seems cruel, even monstrous. But if you look closer, you realize what he meant was not about cruelty. It was about stability. Because Machiavelli understood that love fades, affection shifts, and desire grows restless. But fear, or at least the perception of strength, endures. And this applies not just in politics, but in relationships as well. Let's face it, people leave when they believe they can. When they believe there are no consequences, no loss, no fear of what will happen after their betrayal. They walk away because they think the door is open and that you will collapse without them. And if Machiavelli were alive today, he would tell you plainly: loyalty is often sustained less by love and more by advantage and fear of loss. Think about it. Why do people stay in some relationships even when passion fades? Because leaving would cost them too much, financially, socially, or emotionally. Why do some partners remain faithful, even when tempted? Because they fear losing what they have more than they desire something new. This is not romance. It is calculation. And Machiavelli would say it is the true foundation of human loyalty. Love is fragile. Fear of loss is stronger. And advantage, the benefits someone gains from staying, is strongest of all. This explains why people always leave you for someone else when they believe you are replaceable. If they think you have no strength, if they sense that you will beg for them back, if they feel they can leave without consequences, then loyalty evaporates. But if you hold yourself with dignity, if you show that betrayal means permanent loss, if you carry the aura of someone who does not crumble, then fear of losing you becomes real. And that fear sustains loyalty longer than affection ever could. Machiavelli would tell you that most people are opportunistic. They calculate, often unconsciously, what benefits them most. If staying with you feels like advantage, they remain. If leaving you feels like advantage, they go. What you must understand is that this calculation is always running in the background, even in love, even in passion. This may sound depressing, but it is liberating, because it means you stop expecting loyalty to come from illusions of eternal love. Instead, you see it for what it is: a balance of power. And in that balance, your role is not to beg, but to ensure that leaving you carries weight. Look at history. Rulers who relied solely on love were betrayed the moment affection shifted. But rulers who commanded respect, who created advantage for loyalty and consequences for betrayal, endured. The same principle applies to your life. If you give endlessly without boundaries, if you let someone believe you will forgive anything, if you make yourself too easy to leave, then betrayal is inevitable. Because in their eyes, the cost of leaving is nothing. But if you embody strength, if you show that betrayal means permanent exile, that loyalty is rewarded, but disloyalty is never forgiven, you become someone who is not so easily abandoned. People think twice before walking away. They think twice before betraying, because they know the loss will cut deeper than the gain. This is Machiavelli's cold truth. People are less loyal to love than they are to fear of loss. They are less bound by affection than by advantage. And until you accept this, you will keep asking why they always leave you for someone else. The answer is simple. They leave because they believe they can get away with it. They leave because they believe the other person offers more. They leave because you did not make loyalty advantageous enough or betrayal costly enough. But here's the paradox Machiavelli leaves us with. The more you embody strength, the less you need to use it. The partner who knows you will not tolerate betrayal is less likely to test you. The one who sees you carry dignity and restraint will often remain loyal longer, not because of endless love, but because respect holds where passion wavers. This does not mean you should live in cruelty. It means you should live in strength. Stop making yourself easy to replace. Stop begging when someone walks away. Stop forgiving betrayal that should never be forgiven. Instead, embody the power Machiavelli saw as essential. The power to walk away with your dignity intact. Because nothing makes someone regret leaving more than realizing they lost what they can never regain. So here is the harshest reality of all. People will always leave you if they believe they have nothing to lose. But if you live in such a way that losing you is a true held, then even when love wavers, loyalty will endure. So now, the question is yours. When people left you in the past, was it because they stopped loving you? Or because you made it too easy to lose you? Comment your experience below. I read every single one, and you'll see how many others have lived through the same betrayal. And if this message struck you, don't just listen, support. Like the video, subscribe to Psychatic, and share it with someone who needs to hear Machiavelli's brutal truth. And if you feel called, consider leaving a super. Thanks to help us keep uncovering these hidden realities of psychology and power. Remember Machiavelli's warning: loyalty is not eternal. It is not unconditional. It survives only where advantage and respect outweigh betrayal. And once you accept this truth, you stop being broken by abandonment, and you start becoming unbreakable.